No, no. Alright, you should go for a swim, eh? Go for a swim. Maybe we should both go for a swim. You want to go to the lake? Yeah? Alright, a couple more hours and we'll go, people. Some bugs. Maybe we should go out in the canoe, actually. Should we go out in the canoe? Hey? Completely away from the bugs, find a breeze. You digging a hole or a bed? Run through mosquitoes. Okay, check your dish. Check your dish. What are you doing, Kelly? Are you ready for bed? Stay. Stay. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching it, and please don't forget to hit the thumbs up and also subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to continue to watch the videos. The reason I'm going to turn the video off right now is, first of all, I need some time to edit it, but also starting to rain and I am out of wood that I need to continue doing what I'm doing today. So what I'll be doing is milling all this all these pine trees, so I need the lumber in order to finish off that porch. And well, stay tuned, I guess, for the next episode of that actual porch build. I'll show you what I'm going to do on the outside of it. Now that is going to be screened in as well, so finally getting that screened in spot that we can get out of the bugs. As you can see, they're absolutely brutal right now. It's mid-June, and this is fairly typical, but I'd call this the high end of typical as far as quantity of bugs. And the weather has been slightly cool, so maybe that's part of the reason. And we just had a really wet spring and wet winter with a lot of snow, so there's a lot of standing water for them to breed in. It's going to move a little bit here. If I keep moving, the bugs take a few minutes to catch up to me, although they seem to have caught me already. So I wanted to talk quickly about a couple things going on in my life. So 2 days ago, well, yesterday, I was supposed to be down in Toronto in court with my wife and a couple of lawyers who were interviewing us, discoveries it's called. And we weren't the defendants, but we were kind of wrapped up in the middle of a court case between an old customer of mine and a vendor who supplied it. My wife did some work for them, and my company held a contract between the two, so we ended up being sort of like an intermediary. And we were incurring a lot of costs. Like, it ended up costing us, well, just the last few days, just as the lawyers kind of talked back and forth, cost us about $4,500. So probably $15,000 over the last 4 or 5 years. Just literally defending ourselves so that we could convince everybody that we had nothing to do with the litigation and that we were just stuck in the middle, and please remove us from this process. Unbelievable system. It really was very discouraging for us. It was the last outstanding court case from the business failure and all that kind of stuff, so it wasn't the result of that directly, but the businesses that followed up on the back of that business failure that I had in 2011, end of 2010, beginning of 11, this was sort of the last holdout from that. So we were anyway, we were talking to our lawyer, getting ready to go. I was here Monday night, and then thought, okay, now I have to get up early and drive 4 hours down to Toronto to meet up with my wife and the lawyers and go through this process. Well, Monday night, the lawyers worked something out where they finally got us out of the case, gave us a full and final release so that we didn't have to do it. So the reason I wanted to share you with that is just as a reminder, first of all, to you and also to me, that there's a reason I'm doing what I'm doing now. And that is one of the main things. I just did not like the corruption and the stress associated with operating within a system that's not absolutely fair. Like I said, it cost us probably $15,000 in legal fees over 4 or 5 years for something that we had nothing to do with, and we ended up having to walk away from it because the risk was that this drags on for another 2 or 3 years, and probably will, between the plaintiff and the defendant, where they're continuing to fight it out in court. And if we were still stuck in that process, we'd be incurring legal fees like crazy, probably another $10,000 or $15,000 with no recourse at the end of it. So we walked away without cost, which was difficult to do, but it was, like I said, the last and final release of everything to do with the old business and my corporate life. So what it did remind me is that it was about 2 years ago that I actually turned down the opportunities to work in the corporate world and work even for a public company in a position of authority. And I'm so glad I turned that down. My life is awesome, amazing. I really love what I'm doing here. There's so much less stress, and it's just where I'm meant to be, where I naturally want to be. And I just wanted to share that with you, how happy I am to be in this position, how happy I am to have not followed that and got caught up in the acquisition of more material and possessions and more wealth and all that kind of stuff. Now, there's other things, little injuries like I mentioned on that canoe trip. I buried an axe in the back of my hand when I was splitting some firewood. It was actually the last day that the guys were here, the first episode of the Longhouse, and early in the morning, wasn't fully awake, splitting up a little bit of kindling to get the fire going for breakfast. Hit the back of my hand. Didn't think too much of it. I should have got stitches, but I just taped it back together and kind of held my finger kind of immobile for a week, and the outside did heal, but the inside is really painful right still. That's like a month and a half now, and I'm just thinking that I cut the muscle and or nicked the tendon in that finger, so it's actually causing me some grief, and maybe it always will. And then dealing with these bugs on top of that, just some of the hardships of trying to live this lifestyle and getting more and more into it as I continue to develop this place and the life. So I'm finding that there's days that I say, well, should I just be back in the corporate world and just get an office job again, or become a tradesman again and work in the field down in Toronto or down near Toronto where the money's better. But the reality is I wouldn't trade this for the world. I can't go back to that lifestyle, and we'll see where this goes. We'll see if I'm able to keep it up and whether I can pay what little bills I have with the income that I make doing this kind of thing. So I appreciate everybody continuing to follow along and support me in this journey. It means a lot to me, and I hope I can continue to share it with you. But I'm going to go back in the cabin and start editing that video and wait for the bugs aren't going to go down, but I can fire that chainsaw up soon once the rain stops and start getting some of that wood milled. But if not, if it doesn't stop raining or I'm still editing, I'll just stay in the cabin, and hopefully the sun tomorrow will drive drive these bugs down a little bit. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the cabin next time. Take care.